All right, we are back on board and I took a shower already. John is in there now. What a nice day at the beach. That was just also a nice day, but a really good value. We rented the clamshell for $40, which covers up to 2 people. And then because I'm elite, I got 10% back. So it was $36 for the clamshell. And then it was $20 for our floaties. And because we ended up spending about an hour and a half or 2 hours floating, I think that was well worth it. Again, 10% off, so it was $9 each for them. Total of $60 for our day at the beach. What a steal. The first 2 orange juices that we got, I don't believe they charged us for, and then I don't know, what do they charge, like $3.50 for orange juice? So at most we spent $7 on that, and we used this, which is something that we purchased to be delivered on board, to make them into screwdrivers. And it was just a perfect beach day for a very reasonable price. And I was telling John, you know, when you go to book a cruise, the initial ticket price is not what you should be looking at overall. For example, you might be able to get onto a Royal Caribbean ship for, I don't know, right now the prices are crazy, but let's say $25 to $50 per day. Personally, I think a cruise is worth it if it's $100 per person per day. That was my pre-shutdown metric. So I would book something if I could find that rate. And right now it's just, I mean, everything is off because they're just bringing people back and trying to get you to cruise again. So 25 to 50 is actually what you're seeing. But the thing is, Princess might charge a little more initially, like for the overall cruise rate. But what is included with their fare is a little better. You don't feel so much like a commodity when you walk on board. You're not bombarded with people trying to sell you things. And if you want to upgrade to an all-inclusive type package, which we didn't do, but you can, it makes sense. And granted, the price is going up. They just announced it. But even with the increase, we're talking $60 per person per day. That covers internet, gratuities, and an all-inclusive drink package. So the step up option is much more reasonable on Princess than you will find on Royal. The demographic and the cruising experience may not be exactly what you're looking for on Princess, but for me, I really appreciate this style of cruising. And being back on Princess for the first time since, oh gosh, 2018, 2019, this is reminding me why I'm so loyal to the brand. It is just my style. I am a Princess girl and I love Royal. Don't get me wrong. I am just really enjoying my cruises with Royal, but coming back to Princess, I can absolutely see and appreciate my previous loyalty here. Not because I'm elite, but I really like that when you're on board, you have this all-inclusive experience and the individual, let's say you don't want to buy the all-inclusive package. Well, an individual drink on Royal is $14. Like, starts at 14. Maybe you can do like a soda with a drink, and I think that's 12 or 11, but for the most part every drink is 14. Princesses start at like $6.50. In the Elite Lounge they're $6.50, and then they are $7.50 to $10 depending on how strong and what you're ordering. I mean, if you're buying a few drinks a day over the course of a week, that really adds up and makes a difference. And like I said, right now it's $50 a day to upgrade to all-inclusive, and it's going to become $60 unless you want. The one thing I don't like that Princess is doing is this like premier. There's like plus and premier or something. So the top tier package is like every time you come in and out of your cabin, they will enter you for prizes. In my opinion, that incentivizes people to go in and out of their cabin more frequently, and that's weird. But Princess is just great. As we got back on board, we saw Dawn and Tony in the piazza talking to someone. So I waved at Dawn. He saw me. I don't know if Tony did, but I think John got Dawn waving back. Anyway, it's cool that we're on board with them, and I hope they're enjoying their time because it seems like they can't go anywhere without being recognized. And I really enjoy flying under the radar. I don't want to be seen. So I do appreciate that they have said hi though. Getting on, we saw Tony and Dawn down there, so I was waving. They spotted us. I don't think they can walk around the ship without people approaching them anymore. I went into the Medallion app. I went to try and do specialty dining, and it says for every remaining day of the cruise, it says there is no availability for any restaurant at any time for any of the days of the cruise.
Not even for ready money.
Blows my mind. And it may be a signal to Princess that $29 is not quite enough to be charging for that experience, considering how uninviting the main dining room is. My point of this is that because I wasn't able to do it on the app, I did my least favorite thing, which is making a phone call to find out if they had anything available tonight. Nothing. Not any specialty dining restaurants have an opening at all today. And they don't have an opening tomorrow at all either. They have one on the 13th. 14th, we're going to do Sur La Mer. Then we have our ultimate dining on the balcony. And then we're going to do Sabatini's on the 16th. We already had booked Chops Grill prior to boarding. Or Crown Grill. We reserved way ahead of time. Anyway, I think they may need to up the prices. And I know everybody will hate me for saying that, but supply and demand, I'm sorry. There should be availability. They should have it priced at a level where they can accommodate walk-in customers at least a few times per night. Otherwise, the price is too low. The demand is too high. And we'd be willing to pay it. I was able to get a reservation this week for each place. It just is very, very restricted. And I'm excited to see. I don't really know much about Sur La Mar, and I don't believe I've ever had Sabatini's. I think on the other ships, like Alfredo's Pizza is normally in Sabatini's on sea days and lunchtime. So you would have the pizza venue within the Italian restaurant, and then at night it becomes the specialty restaurant. Well, that's not the situation here. The pizza place is free. It's open from 11 to 11, regardless of whether you're in port. Very different. I mean, the expanded hours is very dramatic. And they still have a pizzeria up on deck. After our experience last night in the main dining room, I'll have to double check with John, but personally, I'm not inclined to go and do that again. I liked the dishes once we were seated. I did not like having people within 6 inches of me on either side, staring holes through me, hoping I would make eye contact so that we could start a conversation and feel like we were all at the same table, because we practically were. Nothing about that was appealing except for the presentation of the dishes and how good the food was. They have fried calamari on the appetizers tonight, so that sounds good. But what sounds even better is for me and John to go somewhere on deck, and that's right.
John and me.
For John and me to go somewhere on deck. Anywhere. I mean, you can pick the wake view, you can pick the bow, you can pick a freaking hot tub if you wanted to, and you open your app and say, deliver a pizza to us, and pay $3. Or you open the app and you say, deliver sandwiches, fries, whatever, and it's free. The only thing that costs is if you want pizza or you want some high-end meal. And I will say that when you get to the pay options, they are expensive. But
yeah, but you can have a ribeye delivered to you in the hot tub, and it's
I mean,
the same price as a ribeye anywhere else on the ship.
If there's no specialty dining available, then we're not spending $50 total on our dinner.
The important thing is they give you the option.
Yeah, but we can go wherever we want on the ship. Open the Medallion app and say, deliver this to us, tip the waiter, and have a beautiful meal and create our own dining table wherever we want. I mean, I know I just spend a lot of time talking about that I appreciate this new thing, but it really is changing cruising on Princess.
Medallion's not really the deal. It's the systems and services that come along with the Medallion.
Right.
And so it's not the Medallion. It's the app, and it's everything else that is enabled because they have a Medallion class ship.
Yeah. I've been on, I mean, I want to say countless, but I know people have been on way more than I have. But I've been on a lot of Princess cruises, and this is my first time experiencing the Medallion, and I am just blown away. And I was telling John yesterday, I think they must be trying to gain adoption from the customers that are resistant to it, because I know from talking with people that they don't like the idea. They are not happy. And so I came on here all skeptical, and I was expecting that it would have issues left and right. And hearing the people talk about the issues they're having with it last night as we waited in line for dinner, it's like, these people just don't know how to use cell phones. No,
that's exactly what it is.
No offense if you're in the category of people who is resisting
take
it.
Offense. You need to learn how to use a cell phone.
If you're in the category of people who are resisting this new technology, I understand you may not like having the cell phone integrated into your experience.
But why not?
The expansion of what you can do on board and what they're offering you at this moment, they are giving so many things to you for free to bring you on to understanding and accepting the medallion. And they want you to appreciate it. They're giving you things for free right now that I believe within a year, if not 6 months, will be way more expensive. There's going to be tipping. There's going to be a delivery fee. There is going to be additional fees added to everything you're doing on the app eventually. But right now, because there is not a lot of customer acceptance of this, they're doing it all for free. So take the opportunity to try it. Take the opportunity and learn how to use it. And then once they start trying to implement fees like Royal Caribbean does on everything, you can complain about it. Things are not going to go back to having paper and pencil, cruise card transactions, no internet. That's just, those days have left. I understand you appreciate traditional cruising, but we're no longer there. And things have evolved. Honestly, change is hard, but most of the time, it's for the better. They don't implement things like these unless it benefits the overall experience. And I really believe that the Medallion is doing that on Princess.
Here's the deal. A pencil and paper is an information device. A cell phone is an information device. It's just faster and more efficient at everything that it does. This is like having every single form for every single delivery that you could ever want on the ship, in your hand, anywhere you go on the ship. And Hillary's actually said that there are people who are concerned that they're being tracked by the Medallion. Well, I have news for you. If tracking you is their goal, they can do that with your face.
They've been doing that.
Yeah.
Princess has been doing that with your card.
Everybody can do it.
Any transaction you do with your card has been tracked ever since they had cards.
Right.
Because that's how they give you a portfolio.
They're giving you the medallion so that you can choose when you're paying for something and when you're not. And that's a much more, honestly, forward than using behind the scenes
I think that's true,
clandestine tracking, which is eminently possible.
They're giving us access to some of the information that we previously didn't know, or we could assume,
giving you the benefit of knowing where you are on the ship. We can go up to the ping pong deck, request a pizza, and a pizza shows up. How nice is that?
And, for example, we were trying to find our way to the dining room last night. We had a general idea of where we were going from the Vista Lounge. But we went to one of these big screens by the elevator and said, how do I get here? And it said, walk outside, down the ship, go in at the midway elevator bay, and go down 3 floors, and you'll be at the dining room. They are using this technology to help the passengers, for the most part. And
parts of it are rough, but it's getting there. And it's very impressive what they've done.
Really like to hear from crew members, and if I have the opportunity, I will ask them if they believe this is making their jobs easier or more difficult. But being able to serve customers where they are with what they want at that moment and eliminate the need for lines and crowding and all kinds of problems, in my perspective, and having worked in the service industry, I think this probably makes their jobs easier. The only concern I have from the crew member standpoint is that there is no added gratuity option. When you order drinks or something that costs money, there is an added gratuity. But I'm used to, on Princess, they bring a slip for you to sign when you order something, and they're not doing that right now. So I think that the crew members may be missing out on gratuities from that. But Also, daily gratuities are going up, and you can always find your favorite staff member and give them a cash tip, or carry cash and tip them at the time of service. So that's literally the only drawback that I see. And
it would be nice to include an in-app tipping.
Add an additional tip if you want. That's the only feature.
They have a cart and checkout system already there. So just on checkout, you can say add a gratuity.
Well, if it costs money, it has a gratuity added. You should be able to edit it. And I think that after delivery, it should prompt you and say, rate your service, and do you want to add an additional gratuity for your person?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't hurt anyone, and I'm sure Princess will take a cut of it, but just give the option to tip a little more. Starbucks does that if you order mobile. Then after you have paid and you get your product, you have like an hour or two to adjust your tip.
Honestly, I can't imagine that's not in their development timeline.
Yeah.
Already, but it's probably not there yet. We're probably at what's called MVP, minimum viable product. We are probably one step above MVP on Medallion, and they're building it out. I mean, as it stands, it's the built-in infrastructure that they have done is really good.
And this is a computer person. I'm not a very smart computer person. I generally clash with computers. I think I'm cursed when it comes to technology. If something can go wrong, it will. I mean, I have purchased very expensive computers that have completely failed on me for no fault of my own.
The user interface on the TV, which is actually an LG TV app, they have put a deployable app for the TV, is the Medallion user interface sourcing from the Medallion server, which is the same as the Medallion user interface sourcing from the same Medallion server that your phone has. So that should give you a little bit of perspective what's going on here. The TV is basically just a big phone. The Medallion app is logging in, and it knows who you are because it knows its own identity, which is this room number. And it actually, as soon as you log in, it says, do you want to log in as Hillary or John? And you can use it.
Anyway, I am cursed with technology, and even I am seeing undeniable value and seamless integration of this technology. I was concerned when Princess started launching this because of the feedback I was seeing from customers, and I'm sure that the hiccups they initially experienced have been ironed out now, but at this point I do not understand anyone being opposed to it.
System-wide software development is a very difficult thing to do. You can do little pieces of technology here, there, and yonder that try and make things work. What they've done is they've laid down the big, huge concrete pad to build their entire infrastructure. And when I say system-wide, we're talking all of the ships simultaneously.
They were not launched simultaneously.
Well, I know, but they're bringing them up on that's when they when they say Medallion class. What they're doing
if a ship has launched Medallion class.
Right, but I understand. But I'm just saying the scale of this. You have to understand. It's every single display in every single stateroom, every single phone, that app, which is a client login, all the displays on the walls are all coming online. They have vendors on the island. They have an app for the vendors.
That, I think, is a new thing. So when Medallion first came out, I don't believe that you could shop on shore and use your Medallion, but they have now expanded it. So one of these ports that we're going to, they keep telling us you can shop on shore and use your onboard account.
I think you could have here, theoretically.
They own and operate everything. But when we go to the next port, which is not owned by Princess, they have partnered now with businesses, and there's a list of stores that you can go to where you just tap your Medallion and they are going to charge your onboard account.
So the way they're doing that is one of two things. They either have an embedded system, or they're doing it with NFC, near field communication. They have the equivalent of Square, but they're doing a reader on phone, and they're touching your app. Precisely.
They are turning your onboard payment method into a tap
that
payment.
Big giant concrete pad. This section of the pad is vendor.
Cool. The fact that they're expanding it to vendors on shore is like showing the potential for this.
It's software development on a scale that is appropriate for their operation.
If you haven't adopted the Medallion and you're a Princess cruiser, it's time to get on board with it, because this is evolving quickly, and what were a few really isolated features are quickly expanding into a whole cruising experience that it would be better if you learn incrementally as they build it up than for you to get on board after rejecting it for so long that it's overwhelming to try and learn in one cruise. Like, for example, if you go and shop in port at any of these vendors, you get like a 7% discount just by using your Medallion instead of your credit card. So it's a no-brainer that you would use your onboard account for several reasons on top of that discount. As an example, you have fraud protection. If something is a problem with your transaction, you now can go to Princess and talk to them about it. You don't have to go fight it and dispute it with your credit card company. You have authorized Princess to use your card while you're out of the country. This is one fewer vendor who's going to be touching your account while you're out of the country and potentially creating a fraud alert or making it an inaccessible account. There is a lot to consider, and just it really simplifies things. So anyway, I am a huge fan. In our first day on board, I am completely sold on the Medallion. And like I said, he is a very technologically minded person, and for this to impress him says a lot about what they're doing. So anyway, just learn the Medallion, get the app on your phone before your cruise, and start tooling around with it. You will be thanking your previous self once you get on board. We say, thanks, old Hillary, thanks, old John, when we do stuff like that, and you'll be doing the same.